this one. Some of the smartest dummies can't read the language of Egyptian mummies. On a flag or a moon, and can't find food for the starving tummies. Pay no mind to the youth.
There is no right or wrong answer, just your own opinion. If you do not feel comfortable answering any questions, just say so and I'll move on.
Hi. What is your name?
I would say English. I barely speak Patois, so.
I speak English language and I also speak Patois.
Like when people ask me like what language do you speak in Jamaica, like I feel like that's wrong. Like we speak English, like I'm here like talking like English to you, but at the same time it's like it's not English honestly, it's like broken, like we've like formed this into our own kind of thing, our own creole.
I do believe Patois is my basic language. I may mix up with a little English, but Patois is what I grew up talking.
Wherever you go in the world, like people know it. It's hard to describe, but I mean I've been to a lot of places and people them wherever I go, whether it's somewhere in Europe, somewhere in the Middle East, if they know about Jamaica, them pretty much always know about Patois.
It's the roots of Jamaica. It is part of what makes us Jamaican. It is the culture. It is part of our culture.
I'd consider it a different language because when I come up here and when Jamaicans come and say like to America, Americans don't understand it.
It's English, but like it's broken English.
To me, it has kind of grown more than broken English because you have words now in the Patois dialect that never existed in English, though it's not broken in English at all, it's just created on its own. For example, Yazimi or Dede.
It's a form of English and also a mixture of the African languages.
The slaves and the colonizers, right, they needed a language for them to communicate.
It was derived from what I was told, you know what I'm saying, back in the slavery days when we were trying to fool our slave masters. So we came up with our own way of talking, you know, so they wouldn't understand.
If you speak Patois that much, you tend to stray away from what's correct when you're actually constructing a sentence. Even though you know, you have to catch yourself.
Because it's like a kind of like a song almost to me. It feels like it's like a rhythm to it, and if you don't like speak it that often, then you kind of just lose it.
Because the one thing about Patois, there's a flavor to it, you know, how the people talk, how them mannerism, how them do them mouth sometime, how them do them eye, how them do them expression. Especially the females, it's very different. It's almost like you're singing a song sometimes when you're talking.
The worse you speak it is, the better.
So, is Patois a language or not?
I consider it a dialect from what I was told or learned.
Yeah, so Patois is a language. I do consider Patois a language.
Versus like a dialect or a variation of English.
But isn't a dialect a language?
Is Patois a language? Yeah, Patois is a language. Okay, yeah, Patois.
English language was made from German, you know. The Latin languages were made from Latin. So the fact that Patois is made from English doesn't make it any less of a language.
It's not internationally recognized as a language. In my mind, it is.
I learned it at home. Like that's what like my family speaks in Patois. At school too, like you hear like other children, the teachers sometimes.
People from ghetto then or the inner city, it don't make a difference to them how them talk Patois. But uptown people normally train them children to talk proper English.
I learned Patois, I'd say in between my home and school. Because as I said, my parents didn't really want me to speak Patois because they want to instill, you know, a whole formal background within me. But then you go to school and you see all your friends and they're speaking Patois, so you kind of gravitate to it. And it's Jamaican. Like once you're Jamaican, you're going to hear patois everywhere you go. Like on the street, you see a random guy talking, like saying patois stuff. So, I mean,
I think I learned it from my helpers at home more because my mom really wants me to, suck, always speak proper English. So I'm like, okay.
And it went on from there, friends, teachers, church, colleagues, music. I couldn't remember where I learned it. I just know myself to know it all my life.
Would you like to continue this interview answering in patois?
Not really.
Would you like to continue this interview answering in patois?
Yeah, no problem.
Sure. I can do so, but you would need to speak to me in patois first.
Why?
It's just a thing where, like, over here, for example, in England, like, a lot of people meet me and they're like, oh, you're from Jamaica, say something in patois. And it's kind of hard to just switch on, you know what I mean? It's just something that, with language, it's very weird. It's like my sister, for example, she's not, if you ask her to just speak Spanish, she can't speak Spanish, but she's lived in Spain for about 10, 12 years. And as soon as she's around Spanish people, she'll just speak Spanish, you know?
First of all, I don't speak patois straight, so I speak what is called Dialect, which is a variation between standard English and patois.
I will go in and out. But for clarity's sake, I'll try and speak as much English as possible.
To be honest, we speak patois everywhere, even in French or Spanish class.
But people from even in my community where I grow up, you don't hear nobody inside of my community talk patois. English, I mean, I pure patois. Because that's how them grew up hearing people talk.
I speak patois with my friends and sometimes with my family members, but mainly friends. I don't use patois when I'm speaking to teachers or if it's a formal setting because that's not how we're nurtured. It's seen as inappropriate.
The high school that I went to, which was Grove High, that was in Kingston. You couldn't speak patois there at all. You'd be in trouble. And then my major thing, I used to do English literature and English. Those were my two majors, so you had to speak English.
Which is a very established and very what they would call high-class prep school. And they spoke it there as well, the teachers, the workers, the students amongst each other.
I mean, if you're an artist in Jamaica, not using patois, I mean, I don't think you're going to be respected all that much. Unless you're like a gospel singer, then you can go and be eating. Like in the dance hall, no, I mean, which dance artists are going to come out saying, oh yeah, and I get these girls. No, you're going to get teased and like bottled, like no.
When my daughter speaks, talk in a real patois, especially out on the street, me try to curve her. Yeah. Yeah, Lataya, you are talk bad. Okay, that's talking that girl. And sometimes, even then, sometimes when you try to correct them, you still learn to talk proper English. Yeah.
It depends on who you're talking to and like the circle like around you. So I wouldn't go to my father either if I'm approaching him with something and say, yo, Pops, like, walk on for this and blah, blah, blah. Like, he'd tone me down, like...
Professional-wise, you're not going to go nowhere and speak patois. You try to come off proper.
Patois not really like none of the kind of formal language that you would use in a... Like, for example, even in a Jamaica, where people have business meeting, them don't just start talking a patois, them use more formal English.
Sometimes I have to obviously tone down, not because I can't understand, but for purposes of showing that I'm capable, like, to show my lecturer, to show my tutor, or to show my colleagues that I'm capable of talking English for academic purposes. But in other formal settings, you will be there and you might meet somebody, you're talking in straight English, and you might meet somebody else and you start talking in patois based on the vibe and the energy of the person, how they are communicating with you. So you might be switching in and out of dialects.
Do you speak patois at boarding school?
Maybe in the dorm with all the Jamaicans, but I won't really speak it with anyone else because they wouldn't understand me.
When I first came here, like I would say some words and they'd be like, what are you talking about? And then like, if you listen to me now, I sound 10 times more American than when I came.
Now that I come here, that now that I've been here, like I don't speak it as much. I have to try to, like conform. Well, not even conform, but just to change the way how I talk, just so people can understand me. It's not that I'm like uncomfortable with my language.
Another time when I was getting stopped and searched by the police, so I didn't think the whole Jamaican thing would work too well, so I just switched to an American accent as best as I could.
To speak it, probably.
To write, definitely.
It's writing, because as I said, like I don't feel like there's a way to like spell patois like right or wrong, so sometimes you might like misinterpret what somebody's trying to say in patois.
Because I don't think there's any standard way, to write patois. So you can try and write patois, and if you can write it so that people can say it, and it sounds as how it sounds, then I guess you're successful in writing patois, but it would be very complex for me to say that I can write patois. People in the rural areas, in comparison to people who live in urban areas, definitely differences in terms of their vocabulary, the speed at which they speak, and the pronunciation. I mean, it varies tremendously.
One time I go country, around I think St. Elizabeth, and the people them talking, I can't understand one thing them say, I swear.
So clearly rural areas are where the most hardcore levels of patois is. At sometimes even Kingston and people can't understand what some of these people from these far countries, far parishes in the country, when them chatting for them patois, you have enough time to ask them for repeat and I itch your ears because them patois hardcore.
Society is broken down into 3 clear classes: poor, middle, and upper. I'm from Jamaica. I grew up down. Nobody would think that. But when you're in...
Why would nobody think
Why?
that?
Because I talk straight pattern. We all know that. We won't get into that. But when you meet people that from uptown, they talk standard, proper English. They do talk patois time to time.
Uptown patois is like, you can definitely hear more of a American media influence in terms of how people talk. It's kind of like a mingle between patois and American English, while downtown patois is just no influence whatsoever, just whatever the streets is saying, that's how the people them talk.
Right, like we know from the ghetto are, lower middle class, we modify, edit, whatever you want to call it. We twist it, turn it however we want it, because I think that's more like ours, The rich folks, in an attempt maybe to separate themselves from us, they make sure they don't use that.
Because I know a lot of rich uptown people in Jamaica that talk with the grimiest accents, like the most thick kind of patois you could possibly know. And then I know a lot of downtown Jamaican people that their accent really isn't even that thick. So I mean, it's more or less a mix really. You can't, but more often than not, an uptown person's accent is less thick and a downtown person's accent is more thick. But I mean, it's not necessarily just as simple as it sounds.
There's definitely negative connotations spoken. Sorry, I touched the patois mainly because, as I said, because of the history, because it's a mixture of the African language and the European language, and because the African people were looked down on, and because the African people were looked down on and it's associated with them, then patois today is still looked down on, and also the fact that majority of Jamaicans speak Jamaican Creole, and majority of Jamaicans belong to the lower class is also looked down upon.
Yeah, as I said, patois has a tag for with the less fortunate. I mean, if you don't have a proper education, I mean, it's going to be hard for you to speak proper English.
Can't speak proper English, or them can't write proper English, them have a problem in terms of them employability. If them they're less likely to get a job compared to somebody who can speak proper English.
So do you think there's like a negative
connotation
with power?
Somewhat, but I think that's stupid because it's something from our culture and we embrace it.
I mean, I think we should be proud of our language, proud that we're the only country or the only set of people that can do this, But yeah, with the world, I'd say, looking down and saying you are dumb for speaking that language, and obviously it's going to make us believe like, wow, you know, what are we doing? We need to develop.
Are there Jamaicans who never use patois?
Yeah, I have friends who, I don't know, they like people make fun of them sometimes, like they call them white or, you know, like those kind of names, like just because they don't speak patois or they can't speak it, or like they sound funny when they do.
So the people who usually can't speak patois will get teased?
I've seen it happen a couple of times.
If you're in high school and you can't speak patois, most people say, hey, posh boy or something like that, you know? There'll be a little bit of ridicule, maybe.
With my experience though, it's been mostly positive. Like I get mostly a positive feedback if I were to speak patois in Jamaica or up here.
Like the Volkswagen commercial, he thinks a good thing, right?
Yeah,
he thinks a positive representation.
It is. It's something that we have to identify with because it's coming from our past. It's what makes us who we are. When we say Jamaica, everybody say, yeah man.
They've always been used the same way. Let me see. Yummy food. Why you yam so much? Yeah, it's always been used the same way to me.
Like when you say you're going to yam something, it usually indicates that you're very, very hungry and that you're going to ensure that you eat it to its entirety. That's what yam is, in a very short period of time.
Is there any difference between the words eat and yam?
That's a good question, because I feel like nyam is more like, oh, I'm really hungry, I need to nyam something, like, and like, I'm hungry, I need to eat something. But I feel like nyam is like, you're really hungry when you say it.
Nyam kind of sound outrageous to me. Butcher style and everything there.
Nyam is more, associated with the pig style. You ever seen a pig eating? You know what I'm saying?
When you nyam, it does put a lot of vulgarity, you know?
Yeah,
nyam.
That is like saying the B word.
Yeah.
B.
Instead of saying
B-I-T-C-H. Say it, yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Different context, huh?
Like, girl, come here. You get kind of stink eye saying, who you calling girl? It's just that kind of thing. But then again, well, maybe it's just a girl, come here. But no, like, socially, technically, there is a difference between calling somebody girl and girl. Girl is worse than calling her girl.
People who is older than I am never find girl as offensive. But no, this generation now, younger, like Latoya age and perhaps your age, if you call them girl, they find it offensive.
I feel that recently a lot of music and like television has made it more derogatory, I guess.
What?
Girl, because it's used negatively in songs like degrading women.
Wash belly.
I don't know what that is.
Wash belly doesn't mean that you're skinny or you're fat.
Wash belly. The last child.
Poopa.
Poopa, that's your father.
Your father.
Fenke fenke? I don't know. Does that just mean like small or something? No?
Okay. It's hard to like put a like set description to these words. Fenke fenke, piano piano. Isn't the best guy does that?
Fenke boy, that's a hard one to describe, but I know what that means. It's like, and just like, well, the girl just fenke like so and so. It's almost kind of that same meaning.
Fenke mean you're weak. Weak in your body.
You're too fragile. You're too, you know what I'm saying? Too soft.
Like me on a bad feet. I don't want nobody talking too mal. I don't want to get hurt.
No humph, you know?
I have a t-shirt that says, "Me look about me talawa."
Talawa. You're good.
Talawa is talented. Lick about your talawa.
Oh yeah, look about you tell like you're a lot, like you're enough or something. No, like you're big, I'd say. There we go, yeah.
Strong.
Alright.
Bananas.
Pass.
Bananas.
What?
Bananas.
My boo, my baby.
Bananas. Definitely bananas is like his sweetheart, your other half, his spouse. Bananas.
Bananas mean somebody where you love. I care for.
Picnic.
That's a small child.
Boogie Yaga.
Ghetto? No, Boogie Yaga is like exuberant.
Nice word.
Rain or fall, but dirty tough meaning like, you know what I'm saying, I'm living, but, you know, it's difficult to survive, you know what I'm saying? So, not the fact that I have life, yeah, that's good. That's rain falling, because I have life, I give thanks. You know, dirty tough, it's still difficult, we're still trying to make two ends meet.
That means that like that same thing that you really wanted or that sweet you, that make you feel good, like that same thing later on is going to, like cause you hardships. That's kind of horrible.
That means that if something is good, like if something is too good, it's never good, you know? So like, yeah, like all the glitter is not gold, isn't it?
What sweet nanny goat I got running belly?
Meaning all those people that are happy and carrying on, say they have a dispute, which they usually have neighbors that have a dispute with each other, and they're gossiping and everything like that. They say, oh, don't worry about it. What sweet nanny goat not running belly? Let him out there and run his mouth. And his time is coming.
What sweet nanny goes like a running belly basically means that what you think you want is not necessarily good for you. So you get it, but instead of doing it good, it will harm you.
That's almost like when puss belly full, right back to bitter.
Alright.
Like, you hear like the best power when someone is just cussing someone out, like.
There's no way me can talk in a proper English. Me can't get my message across if me mad in a proper English.
When you're angry, you always say that patois. Oh yes, you want to call some words.
Everyone always, when you're angry,
it comes out.
It just come out, it slip out.
It comes right out before you even know it. And then if I say that to my son, if anything happens in the house and it says, Una, Una, take up the thing.
For example, prime example is that when you're getting into trouble or you're getting into problems with your parents, there are certain things that if they're said in English, it wouldn't have the same effect. And it wouldn't have, I don't think it would have as deep as a meaning. You know, if your mom says, go for the belt, or if your mom says, go for the belt. You know, there's a difference in terms of urgency. There's just a difference.
Why, when you get in this hardcore now, to prove this anger, you go start talking like this? Because a part of the expression to get your point across.
Honestly, Patois is a language where, although there's a lot of common things, you just say how you feel. Like even a word like, can I say bumbleclad?
Yes.
Okay. Even a word like bumbleclad, you can't describe to anybody what that means. You get me? Like most of it is just almost like a feeding language.
You know, and also Patois, it tends to break down barriers in a sense. So it creates like a more comfortable atmosphere.
It even sounds better when you go to parties and stuff, I remember. And if someone's speaking in English, nobody wants to hear that person the proper English.
I can't blame you I don't know what you've gone through in your life. So, let's say you live in a household that just did not promote Patois. So, I wouldn't say you're any less Jamaican. You still, you still a rep, the green, gold, and black. You still know national anthem, like, you're still Jamaican at heart, like, green, gold, right?
And you go to a school where, it's not allowed and stuff like that. And I don't know, like, there are, like, many possibilities where you can grow up in Jamaica, like, not really speak Patois. But I don't think like it's possible for you to like, I don't feel like it's possible for you to like not hear it.
Do you have anybody in Jamaica who don't really understand Patois? You think? They must hear it at some point in their life.
Yes, them don't have to speak it. I'd say if them don't understand it. Because if you don't understand Patois, you don't understand yourself. Patois is you. We have to identify with Patois. You can't run from it. Those are sellouts, in other words. I would rate them in our culture.
You can't say you're Jamaican if you don't know chat Patois. It's part of our roots. So.
First of all, definitely understand more than speak. If you can't understand a creole that is unique to your country, then you'll be definitely seen as less of Jamaican in my eyes.
Someone who is not Jamaican, who didn't grow up in Jamaica, can learn to speak Patois?
No, I don't think so.
It would be hard for someone to teach someone how to speak Patois like how you can teach someone to speak English.
In fact, I know I met a woman one time when I was in Switzerland, and she had a boyfriend who was Jamaican, and she could speak Patois. I mean, she still had a Swiss accent, but she could speak Patois through and through.
A lot of Chinese people come here, and that's the only thing that they know how to speak. Like, they don't speak standard English, they just speak Patois. So it must be possible.
You get a book and study from my little boy to know man say master.
You think you master it?
No, him say that, that's what him say.
You think you master it?
No, master. Master what? Well, master. Not even we can master all language. Yeah, you can't master that. You mad?
It's going to be hard. Like, yeah, they can learn. Just go to Jamaica. I mean, that's like me trying to learn Spanish. It's the hardest thing. Like, I suck at Spanish. I'm so bad. But I'm sure if you send me to Spain for like 2 months, I'm going to come back like know how to speak Spanish.
Yes, they can learn to speak Patois only if they come to Jamaica and live in Jamaica for a certain period of time. But it'll be very hard, and it will take a very long time.
Like, I feel like when you're there, you don't really value its importance. Like, for me, I can say personally, like, I would say like it was just what people speak there.
It's just a normal way Jamaica life. I don't think anything valuable about speaking Patois.
If you live in Jamaica, it's very valuable to mingle with everybody and get about and just be cool with everybody. In the outside world, and Jamaica being a small place now, I can't really see where it's necessary. It's a nice benefit because it's cool, you know what I mean? But it's not necessary anywhere else.
Majority of the country speaks Patois. Therefore, if you go into certain places where someone is incapable of speaking standard English, you're going to have to know to communicate, and you have to know to help yourself. Not only that, but as I said, it promotes nationalism, right? You know, embracing it. I'll come back to embracing your culture. Yeah, I think it's very valuable to learn to speak Patois.
So, funny story, putting this out there. I know a friend, I shall call no names, we'll call him Bob. Bob left Campany. He went to Atlanta and then came back 3 months later and literally had the biggest storm. Could not speak any Patois. Everyone was like, "What, Bob? Like, what are you doing? You look dumb." And he thought it was the coolest thing because he felt like he was, above everyone else. But as I said, you're embarrassing yourself. Like, if you call yourself Jamaican, and you're growing up in Jamaica and you speak fluent Patois, literally some sparkling Patois, and then you go up and after 3 months you come back and you forget it. I mean, it's not a good look. Like, I don't think it's a good look. Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah, it's also unique. Like, where else are you going to find someone speaking Patois? I think that's something you need to hold on to. I believe if you have it, then don't throw it away.
Do you think it's valuable to know and speak Patois?
Yes, just in case someone is speaking something against you, it's good to know.
Do you think English is important in Jamaica?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep it there. Yeah, I think it's important.
I think it's valuable, yeah, because you can't have a whole bunch of foreign people trying to come and invest in a company and you and them can't speak. So it is valuable.
After all, it is our official language. As I said, it's used in formal settings. Therefore, if you want to be socially mobile, then you have to grasp the language. Also, if you're traveling, because a lot of people, it's not like they're going to be in Jamaica for the rest of their life. Not like they're not going to visit other places. You're going to have to know to help yourself. You're going to have to know to communicate.
English is very, very, very of utmost importance to speak because it's the first language of the world. Is the business language. Is the business currency language of the world. It is a universal language of the world.
To me, I'm very proud of the language. You find, and to catch myself now, you find more people actually want to talk Patois right now than back then. That's not a Jamaican.
I mean, it's basically a whole different language. I'm sure if you go to any country, their language is just like Patois, I'd say. I mean, it's spoken every day, and we're going to gravitate to it and we're going to learn it. It's just like learning Spanish. It's just like, I mean, there's probably like a Patois like Rosetta Stone.
Okay.
If there isn't, there should be.
Alright. I write in this book right now. It is called The Patois of Jamaica. You can buy it on eBay. This for $99. Type in or you can Google it. The Patois of Jamaica by Jonathan Williams. It's free advertisement. That's a joke.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling you, if I may get off the plane anywhere in the world, anywhere we go, we are shouting something in Patois. And we're not afraid or, you know, like feel inferior or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Because right now that's our power. Because the first thing, did you saw the Super Bowl advertisement? Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like we are a brand, right? Actually, it's a brand right now. And it is selling. You know what I'm saying? So there's no way, everything. Yeah, Jamaica, yeah man, cool vibe. You know what I'm saying? Respect, you know, so there's no way. It have no dying out for now, no dilute.
Really and truly, my only final thought is that Jamaican people, we need to hold on to our language and we mustn't discard it or put it behind. Even the world will accept it as another language and the world will teach it, we can teach it to a certain degree and we can preserve it for our culture and for our children. We can regulate it and refine certain aspects of it because Patois cannot be refined. It cannot, it's untamable. We do what we can, you know. That's one part of our culture that they can't take away from us, and that is Patois. How we talk and how we relate.
Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever have, redemption songs, redemption songs.